In this video, I'll go over how to merge and unmerge cells in LibreOffice Calc. Hi, my name is Michael, and I give quick tips and tutorials on how to use Calc software. Generally speaking, merging is good to make cells or a couple cells next to each other look better as a header or some sort of a visual effect to your tables. If you are interested to combine data from two separate cells or different rows, different columns, you probably want to use something like the concatenate function to combine your data into one cell. If you're interested to learn about concatenate, I can make a video on that for later. So to merge cells, first we'd have to select two cells or more, typically adjacent to each other. So I'll go ahead and try that. I'll select A1 and B1. There are a few ways that we could try to merge. One is within the format menu, and we can click on merge and unmerge cells and choose one of these options. Another way is on the toolbar, there's actually a merge icon and a second one here. And then once it's merged, we're able to use the unmerge icon. Third way is just to simply right click on the selection, and then there's the merge cells option. I actually selected the merge cell option and it just went ahead and merged it for me. So as we see, when I select cell B1, it actually includes A1 because now they're merged almost as if it's one combined cell. And the easy way to unmerge is to hit on the unmerge icon. Now it's back to what I had before, where cell B1 and A1 are two separate cells. Now let's see what happens when I use the merge icon. So I'll select cell A4 and B4 and I'll click on this merge icon. Here it gives me three different options. I'll just go through the list from top to bottom. So the first option, this one will combine the contents into one merge cell. And actually, we noticed that it centered the data for us. So we're seeing first name, last name, and the text is centered. So let's try that again. This time I'll choose the second option. This one will keep the data from both cells. However, it'll just display data from one cell. Here we have it for cell AB7. It only displays first name and we don't see the last name. Let's go ahead and choose the third option. This one will actually get rid of the data in the second cell and just display data from the first cell. It looks a lot like what we have in cell AB7, but later on I'll merge and show you how these two are actually different once it's merged. And lastly, I'll test this icon for merge cells, and I'll just pick the last option just to see how it's different than this other icon. So we see here, it merged for me, but it actually did not center the text. So that's a difference between this one and this one. Now another way to merge, instead of just selecting two cells side by side, I could actually select multiple cells in a rectangular shape. And let's see what happens if I try to merge them together. Here I'll use the default option, which will keep the contents of the hidden cells. And here all we have is the word alpha. All the other words are essentially hidden and we don't know what it is. It's not shown now that this cell has been merged. Okay, so let's now try to unmerge and see what their differences may be between each option. So here I'll click on unmerge. Now that it's unmerged, it looks a little bit weird. We notice cell A4 has the value first name, last name. Cell B4 is just empty. When we look at the cell where my mouse pointer is, it looks weird. And the reason is because it's actually centered. And it was centered when I first merged it together. And now it still remains centered. So to fix this, we would, instead of having it aligned in the center, I want to align it left. And now it displays a little bit better. One problem you may have noticed is the value last name, it didn't go back to cell B4 because in the formula bar it's empty. The word last name is now just part of cell A4. So let's take a look and unmerge cell AB7. Now here, this is a lot better in unmerging. It kept the value last name in the second cell and The first cell, it actually is aligned center, so I can fix it by clicking align left. And this would be the original, how I had the values before I merged the two cells together. Now I'll try unmerging this. And here the value last name doesn't appear anywhere. And that's because in this option, when I merged it, deletes the value of the other merged contents and only keeps one value, which is the word's first name. Here I'll unmerge. And as we see, the only difference between merging for AB13 and AB10 is that this was not centered when I merged it, and so when I unmerged it is now just aligned left as it always has been. As we see, the last name value has been deleted and is not restored once I unmerged it. And lastly, let's unmerge this option, alpha. And this one's good. All the values go back to where it was. The values were just hidden. When I unmerged, it just went back to the same place that it used to be. So that's it for merging and unmerging. As I said, it's probably best just to do merge and unmerge when it comes to visual. If you wanted to preserve data or combine data from separate columns and rows, you probably wouldn't use merge. You probably would want to use a formula like concatenate. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay nifty.